Hello and welcome back to Ready Rhino 1. This is Ryan, and I'll be continuing my playthrough of Factorio. I think we left off, we were getting ready to try and build out our main bus. So let's get to doing that. I think what I'm going to do... Hmm. Don't like that. That's my 4... Oh, I can actually put my first one there. I'll be changing these around, of course. I went and salvaged some of my designs from earlier. Do that. That way I can... So I went and salvaged some of my designs from other maps. It's unfortunate because of 1.1 that I don't think I can salvage everything. I had some really old games, like very old games. Unfortunately, my very first game is now, I think, completely gone. So that's unfortunate, but probably my own fault, really. I should have been looking at, if they were sunsetting some of the really old map versions, and I could have been upgrading it this entire time. But that's where I'm at. So, yeah. Sorry about that. This is a quick little, I had to take care of something. But I'll put those two together. All right. So, wow, that's right, because I haven't given L4. Okay, so let me explain what this is first. This is a main bus and a main bus rebalancer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it all 4 lanes. So what this does is it's going to rebalance the 4 lanes, taking 2 of these and passing them through and rebalancing them again. These rebalance the remainder, passes 1 on to rebalance there, and then splits 2 off. The idea is that with a main bus, we want to carry all of our product across these 4 lanes, and when we need to get a ribbon of product off of our main bus, we can split it in this way. So this takes 2 out of the center, and then we'll rebalance around it if all 4 lanes are being fed. And it'll just rebalance these 4 here. So in some designs, if you're not careful, you can have everything going on in your bus, and then what happens is you split off, a ribbon or 2, and then what happens is the rest of the bus from that point on becomes unbalanced. Like 2 or 3 of the lanes are just like always deficient because they got pulled off on this side. And so what you want to do is when you pull some ribbons off to feed a production line, then what ends up happening is, these things don't become balanced, and when you go to pull it off the next one, then you have like 2 lanes are just fully saturated, never being used, and then 2 lanes are always dry, and then it ruins your production lines further down the way. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. So I think I want 2, 3, 4, right? So this part is always interesting. Up there. Yeah, so at this point, I'm going to be consuming a ridiculous amount of transport belts because I need to get these lined up. Now, I'm going to show you the other feature of a main bus. I actually need to bring these back a little bit more, don't I? I'll leave those in that. Hold on, you gotta get this right, or else it really messes things up. These are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. I forgot that I need to bring steel into the picture. I think I'll pull them off that. Yep, there we go. 3 and 4. And then that. Okay. As you can see, fortunately with this one, it'll sit there and create a bunch of yellow belts for me, and I'll have to create these by myself. I'm not at the place where I feel like I want to actually create a production line of just all the belt and belt pieces. That sucks down a lot of iron. It will be something that I will put in place, probably down here. Well, I need green circuits for it anyway, so doing that a little later. Let's see, 1, 3, 4. I'll come up here, and we'll run it this way. Okay, so one of the advantages of the main bus, you are able to transport your lines of production or your raw materials. You can run them all down in these long strips like this, in these like 4-piece. You use something like this. I mean, there are other ones. In fact, this one isn't like super balanced. It's balanced enough that it works out pretty well. I think for like if you were to have a really long production line, this would not really balance too well. But I did not come up with this design, by the way. I had found this somewhere else. I've always found it works really well. I've had decently long production lines, at least enough to produce enough for a rocket, and enough to produce all of the different sciences and not have not had any like major issues with it. I think towards the end things get a little strained, but that's partly because I didn't have enough raws coming in. So like if I were to have started over, I probably would have done like 2 sets of 4 of iron, 2 sets of 4 of copper, and different things like that to get everything through. Now, for this though, I found that just doing 4 iron, 4 copper, 2 steel, and I'll be doing 4 green circuits. And I think I'll be trying to do 4 red circuits. That tends to, I used to do just 2 things of red circuits, but I tend to get a little starved toward the end. So I've been kind of increasing that. So the point of it though is that it scales really well and you can put stuff on, take stuff off. So the big thing is no matter where your lines of production are, you can always get things on and off the belt pretty easily. So you notice when I have something like this, right? So if I were to put that down, say here, these 2 belts up here that jump off, what I end up doing is this. I put an underground, 2 underground belts. They would go right here. So in here, the 2 belts split off, I would do this. As you can see, I'm able to cross the other 4 belts, and I can do it, and there's enough here, because there's 2 spaces, there's enough here to go again. And so I can pull lines, or pull ribbons off of my main bus, and transport them vertically across the other lanes of the bus. And I then put them together and then run them into a production array. So in this case, I just pulled 2 off, and there's no other lanes here, so I was able to dump it directly into a steel smelting lane. And then whenever you create a new product, you can simply put it onto the main bus by simply bringing it down and stacking on the top or stacking it on the bottom. And so that's basically what I do in order to get things on and off the bus, to transport them across the different lanes and into new production arrays, and then put new products on and carry the bus forward. In this case, we're carrying it east. So it scales really well. It's pretty easy. It balances so things are not starved. You're not having to like do a lot of really crazy what's called spaghetti with transport belts. Although this is a decent amount of spaghetti, but they actually look okay. This, I believe, at some point when you start getting into the, like, and this, I'm not speaking from experience, just by looking at what other people have been doing over the years that I've been playing this game, watching what other people do, when you get to the mega bases, these don't really scale as well, I don't think. They're obviously used when you're doing production arrays, like this kind of stuff. But there's a point at which you start transporting things with robots. I mean, transporting things over long distances with trains, and then robots to get them into different configurations to set up arrays and to produce things. I'm honestly not really up on a ton of that kind of stuff. Oops, I'll keep that. All right, so now we're producing that. Now, ideally, we need to replace these with yellows, because, you know, this isn't gonna scale well. Like this, there's not enough throughput on these gray chutes. I have to have loaders. I have to have, not these things, whatever those things are. I have them somewhere. Or way back here. I need mini loaders at the very least to saturate a yellow belt completely. Now eventually, when you get to the right when you get to the higher end of the science packs, I'm going to have to upgrade everything to reds at the very least. Now, fortunately, I think this did not used to be the case. It ended up being a mod that was added, and then the game developers, I think, integrated it as their own. But as an upgrade planner, I'm not gonna get into it, but the upgrade planner, not show you anyway. The upgrade planner is really nice because it works just like a blueprint. well, not really like a blueprint. You apply it to blueprints or you apply it to an area. But what the upgrade planner does is you specify, like, I want yellow belts to become red belts, or I want yellow belts to become blue belts, you know. And then once you have the upgrade planner set, you just drag it across an area and it will mark each of the things that you've told the inner positions that you specified. It'll make them, you know, mark them for the upgrade to that target. Now it's kind of worthless without robots. If you don't have robots, it's a complete waste of time, really. I mean, you can mark it and then upgrade it yourself manually. When I get to that point, I might be doing robots anyway, so we'll see. Okay. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get this situated. I don't know why it's not dragging. I think my mouse might be going. See, I'm trying to drag. It's just not. And it might be because of my mouse. I've been having issues with the mouse. They've all been Logitech mice, which is really disappointing. But sometimes originally I had an old Logitech mouse, and all of a sudden it started doing this thing where it was double clicking, right? So I'd click once and it would double click. And it was a fault with the button itself, and I saw some videos of people fixing it by opening it up and doing something. It's like, I don't know if I want to do that. And now this thing is like, it started double clicking where it clicks once and then releases, and I haven't released it from with my finger, and so then it's, you know, it's not registering a drag then. Okay, so the first thing I need to do, well, I can just wait on that. Let's actually build. So I carried over a design. Whoops. Carried over design from a previous map that I played. And this one is pretty cool. It expands really, really well. Now this one's a modified one. The original one, well, I'll show you once I get this laid down here. I want to make sure I'm not going to end up accidentally building into my coal. I'm not going to be getting that big, but I'll bring it over here a little bit. So I want to be careful because I should plan this out a little better here. With the main bus design, I want to make sure that I leave the proper amount of space. Okay. I want to make sure I leave the proper amount of space to put things onto the bus. I think I'm going to do that. Okay. 2, 3, 4. I'll leave it at that. Let's clean up this a little bit. That should suffice. Perfect. Okay. Okay, see, I already messed this up. Put it in wrong. Fortunately, just do that, and we'll try that again. Two, 3, 4. Okay. All right, I need more steel, brick, and iron. I need 2 of these. Now, this is definitely something you want to buffer. You want any more of this, for sure. I'm absolutely gonna need that and that. And definitely need some of those. Let's see. Should probably check. Just trying to make sure I have everything. 16, 24. We need 11 more. Okay, and then 4 times 16 of each. That should be enough. I'm gonna need some more of those. 22. Oh, okay. I'll create them as needed. I think it's because they're all fast inserters. All right, let's get one of those guys. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I need to get more. I need 16 of those splitters. 3. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I need more transport belts. Did I get enough of them? That probably won't be enough either. Okay. Okay. So now I'm doing this tedious process of manually running these things down. Yikes. When you have construction bots, they just start fulfilling the requests. Every one of these little ghost buildings are a request, and the robots will fulfill that by pulling all the materials out of your inventory and just dropping them on the land. It's very convenient. There's actually a mod called Tiny Start that I used to use. I didn't want to use it for this one, but Tiny Start gives you like a little bit of a suit that has a robot port and a couple construction robots, and it allows you to do this stuff. Now the robots are they're not, like, your power source is extremely limited, so it's a little annoying, but it's not nearly as bad. Absolutely not nearly as bad. And it's better than nothing. So right now I'm dealing with nothing. Ready? Yeah, these are all... there. Okay. So this is a little disconcerting because I think I don't know if I've got enough room. Oh man. Okay. That was not good on my part. I'm gonna mark that as where I need to be. And let's tear it all up. This happens from time to time. With robots, though, it's like you just tell it to get rid of it, and they all come and pick it up and dump it in your inventory. And then that's the end of it. Then you just reset it back down the way you want it. Dumps it all back out. But if you don't have tiny start, then you gotta do this. Which is fine, I guess. Sometimes it's good to let yourself be punished, because then it sticks in your memory. Hey, don't do this. Be more mindful about the things you put down before you put them down. Alright. Yep. 2, 3, and 4. Alright, let's clean this up. So, this little design is good for expansion. It's tileable, and it scales pretty well. The key difference so I picked this up from someone else who was building mega bases. It's a pretty decent one. This one isn't exactly like it because they had some additional things that they did. They actually had 2 lines here. This will be my copper line. I'm bringing 1 strip of copper down here. They actually had 2. And I thought there was another strip inside of this too, of iron, and it allowed you to, when you exhausted one line, you could just sub in the next line somewhere in here, wherever the tile happened to land. And it allowed you to run pretty long circuit production array, pretty decent distance, just by feeding it like 4 things of copper, 4 things of iron, and you would definitely get 4 saturated like blue belts or something like that back out. So it was a really decent design, and I really liked it ever since I saw it. So I think the big thing for me, the convenience of the robots, is for sure the accuracy. Like these positions for the inserters. It's such a nice convenience. Okay. Yep, okay, we're good. Maybe it's not the mouse. Maybe it's just when you try to do that. Because that seems to go fine. Well, I have been having problems with the mouse, but I don't know, it's been kind of weird. I keep thinking, like, is it the operating system? It's not, like, I've been having problems with dragging. But it could just be some coincidences. All right, let's do down directions. Up directions. And both inwards. All right, thanks for joining me on this episode of the Factorio playthrough. I really hope that you will join me in the next one and just kind of follow my progression on the game. Thanks.